And also, I mean, you say you think kids should be in school. It's the Democratic Party, your party, that is blamed for that not happening during the pandemic.
Right, and it happened in Republican states and Democratic states, and all those leaders were doing the best they could with the science that was available. But there were some. Ezekiel Emanuel is a doctor who was advising Biden, was saying at the time, this is going to hurt kids. We should be really careful about closing schools. And I remember Zeke saying that. So but I don't want to bang on people who were trying to save lives.
I think the Republicans would say that it was the teachers' union, which is very strong and democratically controlled, that made sure that the schools did not reopen. Well, and also that it's not the kids who were dying from it.
Even though we all know Bill Maher is objectively a liberal, he still isn't afraid to call out when he thinks the woke left is going too far. So we got to give him some credit in those situations. And this is exactly that. And it's, as a personal right-winger, I always enjoy seeing the left eat their own. If you agree, make sure you subscribe, like this video, comment down below because it helps boost in the algorithm, and we'll get right into it.
Public education crisis. Yeah, I saw that today in the paper also. A lot of the students who went away during the pandemic never came back. What do you make of that?
Yeah, school is good. Communal education is good because you have to develop social skills. The hardest part about school is like recess and gym and all the times you have to interact with all those other little 10-year-olds. So I think it's really important for kids to be back in school.
I do too. But I mean...
Well, it can create a fiscal problem for a school too. So most schools, the way they get their funding is how many kids are enrolled. If all of a sudden your enrollment falls by 5 or 10%, your funding falls by 5 or 10%. So the fact that public schools, for so many parents, they said, I don't know if I trust this institution to educate my child anymore. It's also going to potentially make the schools worse or have to do more with less when that student funding is now gone.
And also, I mean, you say you think kids should be in school. It's the Democratic Party, your party, that is blamed for that not happening during the pandemic.
Right, and it happened in Republican states and Democratic states, and all those leaders were doing the best they could with the science that was available. But there were some. Ezekiel Emanuel is a doctor who was advising Biden, was saying at the time, this is going to hurt kids. We should be really careful about closing schools. And I remember Zeke saying that. So but I don't want to bang on people who were trying to save lives when we lost 1 million people, that stinking virus.
Amazing way to frame this situation. I don't want to bag on people who were just simply trying to save lives. Was that it? Really? Can't say much because I'm here on YouTube, but what a very strategic way of framing this specific group of people, to say the least.
We're still losing 500-600 a day.
But it was clear much earlier on than many Democratic leaders in particular.
Well, the Republicans didn't put them back in school either.
They did a lot faster, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Republicans would say that it was the teachers' union, which is very strong and democratically controlled, that made sure that the schools did not reopen, and also that it's not the kids who were dying from it.
Right,
and that's the big shame, is that the kids who were getting hurt the most by it were the ones whose parents don't have the resources to say, well, the public school's bad, let me take them out and put them in a private school. Or, sure, I can homeschool them, I have the bandwidth to do that. It was poor kids, kids of color, they're the ones who have seen the biggest learning loss as a result of all of this.
Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Being able to homeschool your kids is a privilege. A privilege. If you are poor, you can't afford to send your kids to a private school or not work and teach your kids at home. These are objective facts here.
Response.
You know, I'm afraid to say that we would have. I mean, I think that we would have had a slow walk of the indictments. But, you know, the issue here isn't about the color of the policeman. The issue is that the tactics, techniques, procedures, and training of these law enforcement officers on these special teams. You know, way back when I went through a SWAT officers course with Capitol Hill Police and some other police forces that were there to learn how to be SWAT cops. The techniques that we were shown back then were not always guns forward, guns all the time. Now the average police officer is trained to believe that he's, you know, number one job is to come home at night. I agree with that 1,000%. But there are jobs there, there are things there that are just require you to draw your weapon.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't, I mean, that's certainly, everything you said is valid. All that is an issue. This seemed to be just 5 cops who wanted to wail on a guy for no apparent reason. If that kid had been white, would they have not done that?
No, they wouldn't have, period. We all know that.
So 5 black...
I mean, there is a color issue within law enforcement altogether.
Even among black cops?
Yeah, because they're cops.
Because they're cops.
This is a mindset. The same way.
So all cops are racist, according to this guy, even if they're black themselves. That makes a ton of sense.
We have in the military. We have a mindset, right? I think policing now has moved so far away from community service towards self-preservation. They go to courses like.
Listen, I'm not a big fan of the cops. I think a lot of conservatives, they fail when they back the blue no matter who. If we hate the government, cops are part of the government, so by extension, we shouldn't be very extremely pro-cop, but this is also insane. Come on. This is just pure racism, or they think it's anti-racism, but no, it's actually racism. They think the cops are literally targeting black people. Let's be honest, if you're a cop, the last person that you want to get into a physical altercation with is a black person, because it will instantly become a national story. Even if you are racist, do you want to lose your entire job and entire status in America? Do you want everyone to think that you're like a racist, insane person? Obviously not.
On killing program on how to do self-preservation, how to battle like a special forces soldier. What they need to do is they need to start thinking more along the old beat cop, protecting the community by knowing the community and not seeing. I don't understand it, right? I'm a big guns guy. Not every black man is the one who has the firearm, right? They assume this block is all armed. Maybe that's because some of them are. But I'm going to tell you, there is a large proportion of the white population in the United States who routinely carry guns openly, brazenly, have stickers on their cars, and cops just say, oh, these are the kind of guys that I go to range with. Good job. Could I just, Kyle Rittenhouse.
The amount of racism that this guy is exuding right now. If we were to ever say the exact same thing, but flip the races, if you're a white guy talking about a black guy like this, it would be condemned. You would never be able to walk outside of your house and not have a riot against you. Let's be frizzy here, as I like to say. Honestly, Bill Maher should have pushed back more than he did, but he's also in Hollywood and is a liberal, so even just a slight, minute pushback he gives is going to give him a lot of trouble. So I guess give him credit where he deserves it, but at the same time, I'm not going to champion you, Bill Maher, but I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you leave an orange heart, because that shows me that you watched the entire video. It helps boost the video in the algorithm. Make sure you subscribe too, because I post 2 new videos every single day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.